Hey everybody, welcome back to another collab video. We got a lot of stuff to talk about in this video. As you can tell, I'm not completely healed yet. Still got a lot of sunburn on my forehead, so please excuse me for that. But got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Lots of trailers, something pretty big that happened today, and a lot of other stuff going on in the world of movies. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, lots and lots of stuff. So, excuse me. We're going to get into it right now. I just put out my Palmer review finally, so hopefully you guys are enjoying the Palmer review. And I will also be trying to put out another movie review of some sorts. And also, if you guys want me to do any like new variety to the channel, like maybe do a trailer reaction or maybe do a live reaction of some sorts, like to a movie or something, you guys let me know because I can always do a recording of that. I can always just sit here and watch a film on my laptop if you guys want me to, and just splice in just some particular moments of that such and such. I don't know, but yes. So we will be getting into the news right now, but just laying out to you guys, if you want to see such content, let me know. So, but anyways, on to the news. So, first thing we're going to talk about today is a bit of a sensitive topic. Happened today, which is, of course, the Scott Rudin situation. Now, for anybody who doesn't know Scott Rudin is a very, very well-known producer in the film industry. If you don't know some of the movies that he has produced, some of those films include The Truman Show, Fences, The Social Network, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Lady Bird, No Country for Old Men, Clueless. I mean, this guy has a lot of credits to his name, and he has produced a lot of films, and he is producing a lot of other notable films coming out this year, one of which we'll talk about in a second. But the Hollywood Reporter has put out a big article detailing a lot of the abusive behavior that Scott Rudin has done to his clients and a lot of his employees, and a lot of verbal abuse, physical abuse. At one point, I guess he threw like a laptop and something involving potatoes. Lots of disturbing stuff, to say the least. And I haven't read the full article yet. I've only read a couple of things about it. I talked about it like briefly with my friend while we were editing a short film of ours. But it's pretty nasty, to say the least, to know that. Pretty disturbing also to know that a lot of this stuff is still happening within the film industry. In this article, like at least the response from it, and also just the nature of Scott Rudin seems very similar to in vein. Not trying to compare and contrast, but how do I phrase this properly? The reaction, I guess, that's to Scott Rudin's behavior feels kind of in the same vein as Harvey Weinstein. I mean, Harvey Weinstein. Both are horrific. Both are just terrible, and I don't want any of those behaviors to be anywhere near a film set, or even in the studio, anywhere. So I do hope that stuff happens to Scott Rudin, because a lot of the stuff that I had read was just disturbing, disgraceful, absolutely out of line, and I hope that he gets what comes to him. But what I mean by comparing it to Harvey Weinstein is that the reaction to all this seems very similar to Harvey Weinstein. I'm curious if it's actually going to be the results are going to be in the same vein as Harvey Weinstein, where Rudin is now taken out of the industry. To which, reading all this stuff, again, I don't want this stuff anywhere on a film set or anywhere near anybody. So. And, it goes on to saying how he was fairly racist to a lot of people inside the studio, and he apparently had a little bit of a temper, because, like I said, he threw like a laptop or a computer at somebody at some point. But he's also had some conflicting stuff with directors, because according to the article, which is where we get into talking about some of his upcoming work, particularly with The Woman in the Window, the Amy Adams Rear Window ripoff looking film. There's a part of the article that talks about some of his conflicting interests with director Joe Wright. which is this. This is from the Hollywood Reporter, which says, on May 14th, Netflix will release Rudin's latest production, The Woman in the Window. Like most of his efforts, the film features A-list talent, including star Amy Adams and director Joe Wright. As was the case with many things involving Rudin, it was fraught with drama, said sources, with the producer taking the reins from Wright after the Fox 2000 thriller tested poorly, then hiring Tony Gilroy to write for reshoots. In the end, sources say it tested about the same. Even as others have been canceled or have dialed back their aggression, Rudin's behavior has continued unabated, leaving a trail of splintered objects and traumatized employees in his path. Now, the article also, again, goes on to detail a lot about his behavior and a lot of the just really awful stuff that he has done to people, and really leaving just horrific things to so many employees, or doing some horrific things to employees. It's disgusting, it's disturbing, and it's absolutely just ridiculous that above all else, that some of this stuff is tolerated. Like, I understand that there's a scare in Hollywood where they're not a scare, but they like put you in put you in a corner where they're just like, you do this and you're gonna get thrown out of the industry. I understand, but there's also a time and a place where you have to make a stand, and I'm glad that this article is out there now, and that people now know about Scott Rudin's behavior. And I do hope that Scott Rudin gets what's coming to him, because that all the stuff that I had read so far is just, like I said, I don't know how else to describe it rather than just disturbing. And I hope that I hope that he gets what he deserves, and that we, get rid of more people like this, like how we did with Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey. I want people like this out of the industry. I don't want people like this in this industry. And knowing now how Scott Rudin is, I hope he gets what he deserves. And we need to voice ourselves more about these situations. Okay, even though I've talked a little bit about how Ray Fisher has dealt with the Justice League situation, which, by the way, I'm not really going to talk about that article that went out, because yeah, there are some things involving Joss Whedon that is a little bit new, but more or less it's what we had talked about on this channel, so I'm not really going to talk about that article a little bit. The only thing new about it was the Gal Gadot situation, which, again, it was just disgraceful. That was terrible for Joss Whedon to even do that to her. That was just ridiculous. To threaten her career, that's just bullshit. You don't do that to an actress at all. Yeah, it's pretty saddening and disheartening to know that people like this are in the industry. But I'm also really happy to see that people are making stands like this, and that they are going to get rid of people like this, because they don't deserve to be in the industry. They don't. And I hope that Scott Rudin gets what he deserves. And just disgraceful. It disgusts me reading this article, and it just puts me in a bad state of mind too, reading stuff like this, because it's really messed up that stuff like this happens. And I'm really happy this article is out there. That's the best way I can say it. I'm really happy this article is out here, and I'm hoping that Scott Rudin gets what he deserves. And to anybody who had dealt with Scott Rudin, I do hope that you get the help that you need, and that you are, getting treated much more fairly and respectively, and that you're getting yourself away from Scott Rudin, and that you're finding better work, because even though Scott Rudin's got a lot of credits to his name, it's not worth the pain and all the suffering that you may have gone through. So, my prayers are to you, and I hope that everybody finds, better work, and that they separate themselves from Scott Rudin, because just from the stuff that I read, the guy sounds like trash, and I wish to not associate with this man. So there you go. Oh, yeah, that was kind of a dark subject. Anyways, moving on. Let's move on to a lighter subject. Space Jam. Space Jam: A New Legacy. The first trailer has dropped. I think on like Monday or two, so sometime last week. Of course, starring LeBron James, Don Cheadle, and the Looney Tunes characters, including Zendaya as Lola Bunny, as I learned recently. Being directed by Malcolm D. Lee, and has a release date of July 16th, 2021, within the hybrid release style on HBO Max. So, what did I think of the trailer? Well, a lot of people obviously have been comparing it to Ready Player One because it has a lot of characters in it from a lot of the WB realm, like the Iron Giant, Yogi Bear, Batman characters are in there. It gets basically Ready Player One, but Space Jam. I kind of dug it. I thought it looks fun. I mean, yes, does it look like it's just kind of like a big excuse to show off a bunch of characters and, hopefully make some bank off that? Yes, but I think it looks like it could be good fun. And I liked Ready Player One, so I think, for me, that type of style, that nostalgic just burst, I'm game for that as long as there's some interesting story to go along with it. And from what it seems like so far, looks like there's some decent story to be had. It's pretty much the same story as Space Jam, as the first Space Jam. Um, so I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I think it could be decent fun. And I think LeBron James also is not looking great as a performer, but we'll see how the film turns out. But it looks okay for what I've seen. But yeah, I think it looks alright. Alright, next trailer we're going to talk about is Black Widow. We have a new trailer for Black Widow, probably the last trailer, because I think this is like the third or fourth trailer that they have for Black Widow because of all the delays that have been happening for the film. Of course, starring Scarlett Johansson, Florence Pugh, Rachel Weisz, and David Harbour. It has a release date now of July 9th, as we talked about on one of the other news ones being released through the hybrid release on Disney Plus and in theaters. And looks okay. Looks okay. I'm still not super confident with this film. I still think this film is too late, in that I feel like we should have had this film years ago. Like way, like somewhere in like phase 2 or 3, I feel like we should have had this movie. But hopefully it earns its place. Hopefully it makes me satisfied, because I think there's something interesting to be had with this film. I just feel like it's a film that is like unnecessary right now. But hey, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But it looks like, I mean, the only thing that has me interested really is the chemistry between Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh. I think that there could be some interesting chemistry there, but other than that, I just don't see the real drive right now for me to watch Black Widow. But hey, it's a Marvel movie and it's within the MCU. I am interested in some capacity with those storylines, so I will be watching Black Widow. But I'm not as interested as I am for other things like Loki, which, by the way, that trailer looked pretty good. So, yeah, I'll see it, but I'm not overly excited for it. And in the same vein of not being overly excited for stuff, we got our first trailer for Those Who Wish Me Dead, starring Angelina Jolie, Nicholas Hoult, John Bernthal, and Tyler Perry. And it's directed and written by Taylor Sheridan, if that name sounds familiar. He is the writer of Sicario and Sicario 2, and he's also made his directorial debut with Wind River, which starred Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen. It is also part of the HBO Max hybrid release, and it'll be released pretty soon here on May 14th of this year. I think this looks fine. At least from the trailer, it looks fine. I wasn't a huge fan of Wind River. I haven't actually seen Sicario fully, but just visually that film looks stunning. But I saw Wind River, and I thought I went from Wind River to Red River, Wind River. I think it was good, but not great. I thought it was fairly helmed, but I wasn't as gripped as I was with other thriller pieces like Prisoners. Prisoners was a really, really good piece that I thought that Wind River was going for, like that type of vibe, that type of tone, but it was going for something a little bit different. And I admired it, but I wasn't really into it as much as a lot of other people were. So here's the hoping that this film works a little bit more than Wind River, but from the trailer, I'm not overly excited. I think it looks fair at best, but Um, interested but not overly excited. Same in the same vein as I felt with like Black Widow. So, but there is that. And the last trailer we're going to talk about briefly for a smaller film called Mainstream. I don't know if anyone saw this trailer. It stars Andrew Garfield, Maya Hawke, yes, this is the daughter of Ethan Hawke, and Nat Wolff. And it's being directed by Gia Coppola, yes, that Coppola. And it has a release date of May 7th. And it's basically about internet personalities, and Andrew Garfield plays like this Logan Paul type thing, and I don't know why, but the style of the trailer and if just the style of how they're going with it looks interesting to me. Yes, the idea of it is something that I'm just like about, like internet personalities, but I think the style looks interesting. I'm fascinated with it, and I'm hoping that it pays off. I saw some like early reactions from like festivals, and it wasn't very great. Um, but from what I've seen, it looks pretty interesting, and I'm looking forward to it because stylistically it caught my interest, and I think I'm hoping it will pay off. And Andrew Garfield looks good in it too. I think he looks like he's having a lot of fun with this particular role. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. All right, moving on from trailers because that was a lot of trailer talk. Let's move into some other um, topics for today. Um, one of which is regarding movie theaters. We know that movie theaters have been dealing with a lot these past couple of months. Well, it looks like they might have gotten some great news, which is that they will be returning back at full capacity on June 15th. Because according to Screen Rant, which they say the following, quote, California Governor Gavin Newsom announced that California is lifting restrictions on June 15th, which will allow movie theaters to open at full capacity. However, a mask mandate will still be in place. The date will mark 8 weeks from when vaccines will open up to all California residents. Newsom cites that while cases of COVID-19 have spiked across the country, California has seen a decrease in positive cases, and the state has surpassed over 20 million vaccines administered. Newsom said, "We will be opening up on June 15th. This economy, business as usual. We are announcing now that on June 15th, we will be getting rid of the colored tiers." Now, this is all a what if, or not a what if, or a big maybe, because we don't know what the next few months has in store for us in terms of COVID-19. We have no idea. Come May, we might live in a whole different situation, and we might have to go back into lockdown again. Who knows? So, but for the time being, this all sounds great. I mean, this also they have the chance to be at full capacity, but will they go to at full capacity is the big question. So because you're given the liberty to do so, it does not necessarily mean that movie theaters will do it. So I'm curious if they will actually do it, and also if audiences will show up with knowing that it's at full capacity. Will you be able to bring in all those people, and be willing to take in those losses that might come with not having your theaters at full capacity, or is it better to just manage at a 50% capacity like we are right now, and easing your way back into a 100% capacity as we originally were. So it's going to be interesting to know how theaters handle this, and if anybody will show up, if their theaters will be at full capacity during that time. Who knows? But again, it all depends on the future of COVID and how how the next 2 months present themselves, because who knows, things could absolutely change, or things might be heading towards the better. Who knows? But it's yet to be seen. Speaking of things that are yet to be unseen, let's talk about Dune for a quick second. Dune, as we all know, is coming out later this year, and Legendary Pictures had a bit of an issue with WB, which is not surprising. Let me rephrase it. Everybody had an issue with WB when they had announced their HBO Max situation, because the Legendary had financed at least 75% of the budget for Dune and Godzilla versus Kong. So, of course, they're going to have some issues with not being informed with how their film is being released and the strategy with it. And they have been negotiating with WB and how they're going to release Dune. We've been hearing that they might be doing a theatrical release. Well, we got an update for it, and it looks like that they're still undecided. Based on deadline, they're still negotiating, while HBO Max will be able to promote it on their website. So they're still promoting it, but they have yet to come to a decision on what is the future for Dune in terms of a release. This isn't WB's decision to make. This is Legendary's decision to make. Legendary already isn't happy with WB with how they rolled out the HBO Max plan without telling anybody. So last thing this company needs to do is to come out and piss off this company, piss off one of their partners again. So I think it's going to be a pretty easy fix. I think that Dune will probably end up being a theatrical release, just because they want to be able to please Legendary, or Legendary might come to a decision where they might be able to roll out a hybrid release as they did with Godzilla vs. Kong. Maybe Godzilla vs. Kong's success might factor into Legendary's decision, who knows. But I think this is squarely a Legendary's decision. This is not WB's decision to make. WB made their calls when they did the HBO Max situation, so now they got to keep hush. This is all Legendary's decision. Legendary makes a decision unless they want to go to court, because we heard also that Legendary is willing to take WB to court if they don't come to a good decision. So this is squarely Legendary's decision to make, and I think that depending on how they see Godzilla vs. Kong's success, and also with the conversations with WB, it's likely to maybe go to theaters, but we'll see. That's yet to be seen, but I feel like it could be a theatrical release because they see that as their big money maker, Legendary Pictures. I'm not sure how WB feels, but I think that Legendary sees that as their big next franchise, and they probably want to have that as a theatrical release. And also, with theaters now returning back at full capacity on June 15th, and if that still stands, obviously, you might benefit from having this film being in theaters come, I think it's released in December or so. So we'll see. We'll definitely know in, I would say, a month's time or so, what the status of Dune's release is and where it will eventually fall. But as of right now, it's still undecided as to where the release is going. If it's a hybrid release or if it's one or the other, we don't know yet. But we'll see in due time, I guess. All right, two more stories to talk about. One of which involves the Rocky franchise. Sadly, it has been reported and confirmed that Sylvester Stallone will not be returning for Creed 3. He confirms it on social media while answering a fan question regarding Creed 3, and he just flat out said no. And following that, a bunch of articles from Hollywood Reporter and Variety also confirmed their story as well, that yes, Sylvester Stallone will not be returning for Creed 3. Now, we don't know if he wanted to come back or if he was not included in the story at all. We don't know. Now, I personally have not seen Creed 2, but I know how the story plays out. I've seen bits of it, so I pretty much know how the story plays out. I've seen the ending of Creed 2 as well. Narratively speaking, from my knowledge, if he is not included, this doesn't feel right. I feel like this just doesn't feel justified. Unless Rocky was given a proper farewell or he passed away, I would understand. But since he's still around, and he's also the single most important aspect to Apollo's journey, why would he not be in the last film of the trilogy? It doesn't make much sense from a narrative standpoint. I don't know if it has anything to do with the prequel series that Stallone is also working on, or at least he's pitching to studios right now. I'm not sure if that has any conflicts with him wanting to do Creed 3. I'm not sure, or if there's some creative stuff that was going on behind the scenes. I'm not sure what was happening, but I just feel like it's kind of odd to not have him be in Creed 3, not just because he's Rocky, but I'm saying that narratively speaking, I just don't think it's because of how connected he is to Apollo and how important he is to Apollo's journey. I just don't know why you would remove that element from Creed 3. But maybe this will work. Maybe this will be a good change. Again, we don't know the direction that Michael B. Jordan is going in for this film, but that we'll see. I don't kill Rocky off screen. Just don't do that. I don't want to hear that Rocky got killed off screen, like panning to his funeral or something. But I feel like that there is more at play here. I feel like there is probably some creative dispute, probably some creative stuff didn't just probably talks broke down or something. Because I just don't think Stallone would just flat out say no. I think that Stallone probably wanted to do a Creed 3, knowing, of course, that also Michael B. Jordan was directing it. Um, but I think that there's more to the story. I just think that they're probably just keeping hush on it because I do believe that Rocky was indeed involved in Creed 3. And because I don't think Michael B. Jordan would just write him out. I think that he was in that involved in that story, but probably there were some creative disputes, creative differences, as everyone likes to say nowadays. But this might be legit, where there might actually have been creative differences, but they're just not saying it out loud. So, because it just doesn't add up. But maybe it'll work. Who knows? But it's sad to say that we're not going to see him as Rocky in Creed 3. But we're getting more Rocky content in Creed 3. We're also getting a prequel series. At least it looks like it's going to be, at least because he's pitching it around right now. So it'll be interesting to see how this film pans out, especially with also Michael B. Jordan directing it. So, all right, last story for today. A little bit of a funny story. You know what we haven't had yet as a film, and I think that that everybody has been wanting to get for a long time. Peeps. Yes, the the marshmallow candies. Yes, they are getting an animated film. I'm not joking. Deadline has confirmed the story. Quote, Deadline has learned that Wonder Street has acquired the film/TV rights to the Marshmallow Candies, with the feature billed as being in the spirit of Trolls meets Smurfs. It will follow a ragtag group of Peeps characters who set out on a cross-country journey in order to attend Peeps Fest, an annual brand celebration in Pennsylvania. David Goldblum is writing the film as well as producing alongside Wonder Street. When you think Hollywood is out of ideas, they'll find something. Stuff like this makes me stuff like this just puts a smile on my face. It's just some stuff like this is just funny to hear. Now, this is not the first time that a Peeps movie has been announced. They've actually been developing a Peeps movie for years. I remember hearing about a Peeps movie back in like 2015. So this is not anything new. A Peeps movie has been in development for a while. It's just now that they're actually moving forward with it. They actually have a writer on board. This could be creative. But based on that line, based on just how I read it, Trolls meets Smurfs. Is this a live-action hybrid? I mean, I know they said animated film, but again, this could be creative. Or this could be the Emoji Movie. Who knows? Who knows? We need a good Easter movie, though. We really do. We need a good Easter movie. I know there's probably one that I'm not thinking of, but yeah, we're getting a Peeps movie. When you think that we're out of ideas, we'll find something. Anything's bankable. if you there is bankable material out there if you really think hard enough. At least Hollywood thinks so. So we're getting a Peeps movie. That's a good place to leave it. So that's pretty much it for today, guys. Lots of stuff. Of course, with the Scott Rudin situation was pretty much the big story of the week. You guys let me know your thoughts on the Scott Rudin situation, all the other stuff that happened. And I will try to get a new movie review out. I'm not sure what the new movie review will probably be. Maybe Every Breath You Take. Or no, Concrete Cowboy. I'm probably going to do Concrete Cowboy. The Idris Elba film that came out on Netflix. I'm probably going to have to do that one. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on all these topics. And, of course, be safe, be protected. Put on some sunscreen as well. Don't look like me. And that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Once again, be safe, be protected. Social distancing, wear your mask. We'll get through this together, guys. And I'm gonna go to bed now because I'm getting tired. And that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I'm getting tired, guys. I'm sorry. And also, I need to reapply some stuff on my forehead because I'm starting to get wrinkly again. So, yeah, that's a great place to stop this video. Okay, I'll catch you guys later, guys. I'll see you guys later. Leaving this great video on a great note. All right, bye, guys. Peace.